Hello and welcome to Teach to Learn, the channel in which I teach concepts so you can learn them and I can better understand them. Right now we're going to be learning about const variables, or declaring variables with the const keyword. This is one of the lessons from the ES6 module in the JavaScript algorithms and data structures course. So let's get right into it. Declare a read-only variable with the const keyword. The keyword let, which we learned about in the previous lesson, is not the only new way to declare variables. In ES6 or in ECMAScript 6, you can also declare variables using the const keyword. Const has all the awesome features that let has, with the added bonus that variables declared using const are read-only. They are a constant value, which means that once a variable is assigned with const, it cannot be reassigned. Then they provide an example of declaring a const variable called favPet, so favorite pet, fav_pet, and assigning it a string of cats. They declared it with the const keyword on this first line, and then they attempt to reassign the value contained inside of it with a new string value of dogs. The console in this instance will display an error due to reassigning the value of favorite pet. So let's take a look at that real quick. So you guys can see the error. So copy and let's move this out of the way quickly and paste that code right here. So we initially declared our favPet variable with the const keyword and gave an initial value of cats. Then we attempted to reassign the value contained within that variable, but we now find ourselves with an error in the console, which says verbatim, type error, favPet is read only. As you can see, trying to reassign a variable declared with const will throw an error. You should always name variables you don't want to reassign using the const keyword. This helps when you accidentally attempt to reassign a variable that is meant to stay constant. A common practice when naming constants is to use all uppercase letters with words separated by an underscore. So I'm going to do something real quick to help you guys and to help myself visualize the differences between the var, let, and const keywords. So let's declare a variable called car. And let's assign it a string value of Ford Thunderbird. All right, our variable has been declared. Let's redeclare our variable with the same name, so variable car, and give it a different string value. So let's make this one Mazda Miata. When we go to log in our car variable into the console, so console log car, we are returned with a string value of Mazda Miata because we initially declared our variable car with a string value of Ford Thunderbird. Then we redeclared our variable car using a keyword and gave it a string value of Mazda Miata. Very straightforward. Let's do the same, but with the let keyword. So let car be assigned a value of Ford Thunderbird, and let our variable car be redeclared, and we're attempting to assign to it a string value of Mazda Miata. As we can see by looking at the console, we are returned with an error. In line 2 of our code, identifier car has already been declared. That is one of the properties of the let keyword. It doesn't let you redeclare a variable with the same variable name. But if we attempt to reassign the value already contained within a previously declared variable, so if we attempt to reassign our value within a let variable, we are allowed to do that. So we initially declared our variable with let to Ford Thunderbird, and then we reassigned the value contained within that variable without redeclaring it, and our variable now becomes a string value of Mazda Miata. Let's attempt to declare our car variable with the const keyword. Const car. Let's make it all caps because that is the best practice. So we initially declared our car variable with the for Thunderbird string as before, and we attempted to redeclare the same variable with the same name to a new string. Well, we see that we can't do that. We get our syntax error. Identifier car has already been declared in line 2 of our code is the error. In line 1 was when we declared our initial car variable. What if we tried to reassign the value contained within our car variable without using a keyword to redeclare it? We get another type of error, and this time it says type error, car is read only. So I just did that to illustrate the differences between those 3 keywords that we've seen. Let's reset our code and move on to the challenge. So now we move on to a note within the lesson. It is common for developers to use uppercase variable identifiers for immutable values and lowercase or camel case for immutable values, objects, and arrays. In later challenges, you will see an example of a lowercase variable identifier being used for an array. And finally, we have our challenge. So we need to change the code so that all variables are declared using let or const. We need to use let when we want the variable to change and const when we want the variable to remain constant. Also, rename variables declared with const to conform to common practices, meaning constants should be in all caps, as we've seen before. Before I explain what this function is doing, I'm going to change some values in order to fit my channel a little bit. So teachToLearn right here for our function call. And let's change this string value to helpful. Okay, so here we have our function called print many times, which currently holds a parameter of str, which represents a string value that will be passed into our function as an argument. Then we have variable sentence declared with the var keyword, and it is assigned our str passed into our function, plus, meaning it concatenates to a string value of space is helpful. So this variable declaration right here will always remain constant because it will always represent the concatenation between the string value passed into our function and the string value it contains right next to it. So since this will always remain the same, we already know that we must change the keyword to const and change our variable name to uppercase. The same word, but in uppercase, because it is a constant value. Then we have our for loop, which has as an initialization statement variable I being declared to a value of 0. And our condition is as long as I is less than the length of the string value passed into our function, I will be incremented by 2 each iteration. And while our for loop is executing each iteration, our sentence variable, this constant right here, will be logged into the console each iteration. So secondly, we've already changed our sentence variable to have the const keyword and to be in all caps. Since our I variable will be changing, but is only limited or should be only limited to the scope of our for loop, we should change this keyword to let. And we are now done with the challenge. I just want to quickly and finally explain what this function is exactly doing. So it is taking a string value and it is concatenating it to this string right here inside the sentence. And each iteration of our for loop it is logging into the console this concatenation right here. So it is taking the length of our string. Let's find out what the length of our string teachToLearn is. So console log string of teach to learn dot length. So this string value has a length of 12. So it is taking the length of our string value, starting I at 0, and incrementing our I variable by 2 each iteration. So it is printing into the console our constant sentence half the times of our string's length. Since our teachToLearn string's length is 12 and I is being incremented by 2 each iteration, it is printing into the console our concatenated variable a total of 6 times. If we were to change this to I++, meaning I would be incremented by 1 each iteration, it would print it into the console a total of 12 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I just took that little time right there to explain to you guys what the function is doing. And this challenge is, I believe it is now done. So let's run the test real quick. And there you go. We are officially done with that challenge. This has been your bearded coding friend, teachToLearn, now signing off. If this video helped, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.